Hello and welcome to the second part of lesson 2 for the Mastering Microsoft Excel course on Thummim NG. We will be talking about data sorting and filtering in this session. So most times in Excel, you would have some data that you would need to sort in order to improve readability or to be able to make inferences out of your data. So what I have here is sample data from MDCN for approved teaching hospitals. We can see there are quite a number of them. What we're going to try to do in this session is we're going to try to sort our data. Excel allows you to sort data alphabetically, numerically, as well as by dates. To sort data in Excel, we can simply head over to the home ribbon and locate this button called sort and filter, or we can use the options on the data ribbon to sort our data. First thing we're going to do is select or highlight the data we intend to sort. So I'm going to highlight this data, and this highlight I've just done is a range from A2 through D37. And notice that in my first selection of our data, I have included the heading of our data. On the data ribbon, we can head over here and click the sort button. Clicking the sort button is going to open a dialog window where we can configure the sort options for our data. I want you to look at this checkbox here. It says my list has headers. If this is unchecked, Excel would attempt to sort including the headers, which might not be what we're looking for. So if we check this, notice that the selection that we made earlier no longer contains our header. The next thing to do is, by default, a sort level has been added. For a start, we want to sort our data by the name of the hospital in alphabetical order. So we will come here under column and select, I just left click on column and select name, and then we want to sort on values. You would want to leave this as values because we are trying to sort the values of the name column, and we want the sort order to be A to Z. Then we can proceed by clicking OK. Now if you notice what has just happened, our data has now been sorted alphabetically by the name column, and so we can see everything up to here has been sorted alphabetically. Another thing we could do is to sort our data by the number of interns, the number of approved medicine interns from highest to lowest. So let's see how we'll be able to achieve that. Once again, I select the range of data that we are trying to sort. Note that I'm always selecting all the range of data, including the header. And then we head over to click sort, and we can now change our sort column to medicine. Then we can leave the order, the sort order, as smallest to largest. Now the sort order just changed from A to Z to smallest to largest because the column type is a number. Now I want to bring your attention to that so we can see how that works. If I click on this field, this column, and I go to the Home tab, heading over to the number format on the Home tab, we can see that is indicated here as General. However, if I click Medicine, you would notice that the type or the number format here is number. There are a couple of other number formats that you can specify, such as currency, accounting, short date, long date, time, percentage, fraction, scientific, or text. So depending on the type of data that you're trying to input, you can adjust your columns to either be represented as a number or as text. The most common way you will be able to identify a number or a number representation in Excel is that it is usually right aligned by default in the cell. If we switch this cell back to text, we notice that by default the text is left aligned. If we switch this back to number, we can see that the data in that cell has been formatted as a number with decimal places and also right aligned. We can adjust the number of decimal places by simply toggling one of these two buttons to either increase the number of decimal places. If I click on this, it increases the number of decimal places to 3. If I click on this, it reduces it until we have no decimal place. Back to our data sorting, I would highlight this one more time. Head over to the data ribbon, click on sort, and then I'm going to specify a sort column as medicine, and I'll leave this as, I'll change this to largest to smallest because I want it to sort the interns from the teaching hospital with the highest number of interns to the teaching hospital with the lowest number of interns, and then I click OK, and then we can see that our data just got sorted, and we notice that it is only the medicine field that is sorted in that manner. We're going to see how we can add or we can sort with multiple conditions. This time we are going to sort the teaching hospitals, the hospitals by zone, and then we are going to sort the hospitals in each zone alphabetically. So let's see how we can achieve that. So to do that, I'm going to start by selecting our data set again. Note I am still selecting with the header inclusive from A2 through D37, and I will click on sort, and the first sort that we are going to do is we are going to sort by the zone from A to Z, and to add another sort level to this, we click the plus button at the bottom of this dialog, and then you notice that there is another sort level that has been added that we can configure. So the first sort level is sorting by zone on the values from A to Z, and then the next sort value that we're going to add would be sorting by the name, that's the hospital name, and we also wanted to sort this from Z to A. And then now that we are done, I will just click OK. Notice what just happened to our data set. First, the entire data is sorted on this column zone. So you notice that the zone column is already sorted in alphabetical order down to the last one. And then for each of the zones, you can notice that for each of the zones, the name of the hospital, in this case, is starting from U and ending in B. The same thing happens for the next zone, where you have the name of the hospitals, that's the hospitals being sorted in the reverse order. This goes on for the rest of our data set. So this is how we can sort data, and then we can also adjust this to sort. Instead of to sort the name in addition to the zone, we can sort the number of medicine interns, approved interns, for each hospital for the zone, so that we can read our data easily to know the highest number of intern in a particular zone. Let's just do that quickly. So we select our data, we click on sort, and then instead of sorting by name, we sort by medicine this time, and then we sort by largest to smallest. So what this is going to do is the entire data set is going to be sorted by zone in alphabetical order from A to Z, and then each hospital in the zone is going to be sorted by the number of medicine approved interns from largest to smallest. Then we click OK. So we can see here, if we highlight each of the zones, so let's head over to the home tab and just color each of the zones, we can see how easy it would be to read this data. Now that we're done with that, we can easily tell the highest recorded approved intern for that particular zone. And in this case, the highest number is for University of Ilorin Teaching Hospital with 120. Same here, we can see from the northeast, that is the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University Teaching Hospital. And then we can see the Ahmadu Bello University Teaching Hospital here with 84, and so on and so forth. Filtering data in Excel is as easy as sorting it. Say we wanted to visualize only hospitals with interns, that is with medicine interns now, greater than 100. We don't want to see every other data, so data filtering can be very useful for very large data sets where you are not really interested in a couple of other redundant data, but you just want to focus on the required information that you're looking for. So in this case, we want to focus on only approved interns in hospitals that are above 100. So how do we do that? In order to filter data in Excel, we head over to the Data tab and then click on Filter. Now, notice what happens when we click on Filter. Each column is presented with this little drop-down buttons, right? We can then use those drop-down buttons to filter our data. So I just left click on one of those drop down buttons for medicine, and we can still sort our data using this, but what we are going to focus on is filtering. So to filter, we select a condition that we're going to use to apply our filter to. Excel gives us a plethora of options to use in building the condition, the specific condition that we're looking for. In this case, we are looking for this number of medicine interns that are greater than 100. So we click on greater than, and we type in the next field the value. So we can see that Excel automatically filters our data sets and only returns hospitals that have interns greater than 100. We can add more conditions to our filtering, but this is the very basic. If we change this value to 40, Excel automatically sorts the data to return approved interns, number of approved interns for medicine that is greater than 40. Because filtering modifies in a way your data set, you might want to return to the original state of your data. Doing that is as simple as heading over to the data ribbon just beside the filter button and clicking on this button called clear. That is going to reset all filters for your data set, and you can take off the controls on each of your headers by simply unchecking the filter button. Finally, Excel helps us make certain computations on our data, and it helps us do this by the use of formulas. Because Excel deals with data, it is very important to be able to make mathematical computations on our data set. So considering our previous data set, we might want to find out the total number of medicine interns. Doing that, we would have to employ the use of formulas. In Excel, you can calculate the sum of all these values in a single column by simply highlighting the values that you wish to calculate the sum for, and then we head over to the formulas tab and click on this button called auto sum. Now if we scroll down to the end of our column, we can see that Excel has automatically calculated the sum of the values in the column that we just selected and displayed it in the cell directly below our selection. Now this is just one way of doing it, but I want to draw your attention to something. If we click on this cell that Excel just calculated the values, dumped the result for, and then we look at this bar in Excel is referred to as the formula bar. On the formula bar, you can see that what we have here is not the value of the cell, but some form or some sort of formula. A formula in Excel is usually preceded by an equal to sign. Sum here is what is referred to as a function in Excel, and then this happens to be the range of values that we want to calculate the sum for. In this case, that range runs from C3 through C37. C3 through C37. Let's see how we can write our own function. I'm going to clear this, and let's try to calculate the total number of approved interns for dental. What we do to perform such calculation would be to type equal to. Now, the equal to sign tells Excel that you are not trying to type or just make a normal data entry into that cell, that you are trying to perform a calculation. You are trying to impute a formula. The next thing we can do is we can either start typing in all the designations of the cells in this manner. So we type equal to, and we type, starting from the very first one here, which is D3, we start typing D3 plus, we type D4 plus D5, and we can keep going on, and Excel would actually calculate that. But in this case, we've just seen that we have a lot of information, a lot of data on that particular column, so we cannot keep typing D3 plus D4 plus D5 down to D37. So instead of having to type them individually, we can just simply say we call on sum, and sum is what is referred to in Excel as a function. We use functions in Excel to help us make mathematical computations. Instead of typing all that, we will just call sum, and then parentheses, open our parentheses. You can see here that Excel suggests to you how or what parameters that you need to provide in the sum function for it to work. In this case, we are going to provide a range, and that range would be D3 through D37, and then you close the parentheses. Now, the parentheses are part of the syntax of representing the sum function or a function in Excel. If you omit the parentheses, then the function will not work. And so I'm going to press enter on my keyboard, and we can see that Excel has done the computation and has given us the value that we are looking for. Another thing we could do is to find out the total number of interns, that is both medicine and dental combined, for each of the hospitals. To do that, we can click on the cell beside this, the empty cell beside our data, and simply type in equal to, because we are just dealing with two data or two cells in this case, we can just type equal to and reference the first cell here, which is C3. Then we type plus and reference the second cell here, which is what? D3. And then we press the enter on the keyboard. Excel does the computation and dumps the results here. You would agree with me that it would be very tedious to have to do the same thing for all the rows that we have here. So Excel has a way that we can duplicate a function across rows. To do that, we simply head over to the cell that carries the function we want to duplicate, and if you look at the formula bar, you will realize that this particular cell, the value of this cell was gotten from a function C3 plus D3, or from a formula rather. And to duplicate this value across all rows, you move your cursor to the bottom right corner of that cell until it changes into a black cross. You click that control and drag down. So we drag till it covers all the rows we intend to make the computation for, and Excel will automatically populate each of those cells with the appropriate formulas. For this one, we notice that Excel automatically populates it with C4 plus D4. It populates this one with C5 plus D5 down to the last one, which is C37 plus D37. And with that, we've wrapped up on our work for Microsoft Excel for this course. The next part of this course is going to start with Microsoft PowerPoint. See you then. Bye now.